Welcome to the BearsTalk Podcast, your ultimate source for all things Bears. Hosted by Bryan Perez, editor of Chicago Bears on SI. From insider analysis to the latest news, we cover everything you need to know about the monsters of the Midway. Stay locked in. Bears football starts now.
It's a great day to be a Chicago Bears fan. Welcome back to the BearsTalk Podcast. I am your host and the managing editor of Bears on SI, Bryan Perez. And we had to hop on and throw a video together for you Bears fans today because it's Mel Kiper mock draft day. The draft guru, the original god of mock drafts himself, Mel Kiper Jr. from ESPN, dropped his latest mock draft and probably his last one before the 2025 NFL Draft, and it was a 2-round variety. We're going to dive into all 3 picks that Mel Kiper made for the Chicago Bears, and of course, we're going to grade them. That's our job. We're from this side of the desk. We're going to grade the job that Mel Kiper does because you know what he's going to do when the draft is over? He's going to grade all 32 teams and give his opinion on what the real general managers did in the real NFL Draft. So why not put together our grades for his mock draft? But before we do that, Bears fans, I have to ask you to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube and wherever you are getting your podcasts. You can enjoy the Bears Talk Podcast both here on video and on your favorite podcast provider. So do us a favor, subscribe, like this video, share it with your fellow Bears fans so we can grow this channel. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. We want to get to 5, 10, 20, even 100,000 subscribers through you guys, Bears Nation, doing it organically. So hit that subscribe button, tell a friend, and let's help this channel grow. But now that that's all out of the way, let's get into Mel Kiper's mock draft, starting off with the first round at number 10 overall. Mel Kiper kicked off his Chicago Bears draft with what I think is still a surprising pick. I know that this is gaining some momentum around the NFL draft universe. ESPN was talking about it all day today after the mock draft came out. And that's the Bears selecting Penn State tight end Tyler Warren with their 10th overall pick. And look, there's no doubt about it. Tyler Warren is probably the best pure football player, old school throwback football player that will be on the board when the Chicago Bears pick. The first 9 picks in Mel Kiper's mock draft was kind of a nightmare scenario for the Chicago Bears. Will Campbell, gone. Armand Membu, gone. Ashton Genty, gone. Even Shedeur Sanders went at the number 9 pick to the New Orleans Saints, which, yes, Sanders has no interest with the Bears. He's not going to be a Chicago Bears target, obviously. That's stating the obvious. But if he does slide to number 10, and Membu, and Campbell, and Genty are all off the board, the Bears would have an opportunity to potentially leverage that 10th pick and arguably the second best quarterback in the draft for a trade-out scenario. Maybe a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers or another club picking later in the first round that has quarterback issues, wants to come up and make a trade. That pick would have been a lot more enticing, a lot more appealing, a lot more leverage for Ryan Poles to be able to slide down if a quarterback's on the board. So Sanders is gone, as well as the other 3 players who probably rank ahead of Tyler Warren on the Chicago Bears draft board. But here we are. This could very well happen to the Bears in the first round on April 24th. And if Tyler Warren is sitting there, I guess you got to go best player available like Mel Kiper did. If you listen to Dan Orlovsky and some of the comments he was making on ESPN after this mock draft got published, he was all about the Chicago Bears taking Tyler Warren because Warren is the kind of player that would accomplish the goal that Ben Johnson has for the offense in 2025. Ben Johnson said he wants to make different things look the same and the same things look different when the Bears are calling plays. Tyler Warren is the kind of guy that accomplishes that goal. You don't know what the offense is going to do with Tyler Warren on the field because he's just as competent as a run blocker, as he is as a pass catcher, as he is as a ball carrier. So he is really a Swiss Army knife, even at 6'5" and 256 pounds of pure football player. He doesn't look like an offensive weapon, but he sure plays like it. Look at his stats from this year: 104 catches, 1,233 yards, and 8 touchdowns. A legitimate career breakout season for Warren, who made some defenders look silly time and time again throughout the 2024 season. We're not going to have testing numbers on him. There's nothing that's been published as of now in terms of how fast he can run, how high he can jump. But if you put on the film, He's that dude that just finds a way to get open. Is he going to be like a Travis Kelce type in the league? Could he be like a Trey McBride in terms of that level of productive pass catcher? Maybe. But I do think his stock is getting inflated at least a little bit because of the success that the Raiders had with Brock Bowers in 2024. And let's be honest, guys. Tyler Warren is not Brock Bowers. He's not the kind of receiver Brock Bowers is. He won't make the kind of impact on offense or in the passing game that Brock Bowers made for the Raiders last year. But he doesn't have to be. The Bears have DJ Moore. The Bears have Rome Odunze. They actually still have a guy named Cole Kmet. So Tyler Warren would not have to be the number one target, the go-to receiver that Bowers ultimately developed into last year. He would simply be another chess piece for Ben Johnson's offense. And when you think about it, it's supporting Caleb Williams. I mean, the goal for the Chicago Bears all offseason has been help Caleb Williams reach his maximum upside. It's been proven through the moves that Ryan Poles made on the offensive line, trading for Joe Thuney, trading for Jonah Jackson, signing Drew Dahlman. He has done everything he can to give Caleb Williams a chance to succeed in year two, the way many thought he might be able to do in year one. And when you add Ben Johnson as the support system, the coach in Caleb Williams' ear, not only throughout the offseason, but even in-game situations, play calling, Caleb Williams will be set up for a high level of success, a breakout season in year two with a player like Tyler Warren added to the offense. So it's not my first choice for the Bears, but it is a good choice for the Bears. And I think that's how I would feel with a grade for this pick. Not my elite pick for the Bears, not a straight A+ pick for the Bears, but a good grade. If your kid came home with a report card with a Tyler Warren type grade on the paper, you'd be pretty happy with it. I think it's a solid B. I'm not even going to go with a B+, only because the Chicago Bears do still have a pretty good tight end on the roster in Cole Kmet. And by adding Tyler Warren to the mix, we're again kind of putting a limit or capping the potential upside from Cole Kmet, who not too long ago was viewed as an ascending tight end who could reach that upper class of NFC players at his position. He won't have that chance if Tyler Warren comes to Chicago. And to be quite honest, I think Cole Kmet's time as a Bear would be, you're kind of flipping the hourglass over. The grains of sand would be slowly drifting away for Cole Kmet and his Bears career, which is unfortunate because I do think he's a very important leader and an underrated player in the passing game. He's not a game breaker, but I don't think Tyler Warren will be either. So again, good player, good pick, solid B, makes the offense better, makes Caleb Williams better, makes the receivers better, kind of like that force multiplier mentality or theory would be applied if Tyler Warren joined the offense. So I get what Mel Kiper did. And again, I think Tyler Warren being the pick at number 10 is not necessarily about Tyler Warren being the guy the Bears want, but he would be the best guy left when the Bears pick. I don't love that scenario. I'm hoping a player falls to Chicago who they're not expecting to be there. Maybe a Mason Graham slides. Maybe Armand Membu slides. Or, obviously, Ashton Genty. To be honest, I wouldn't hate it if Mel Kiper sent the Bears Omarion Hampton at number 10. You might think that's crazy, reaching for another running back not named Ashton Genty in the first round. But in Kiper's mock draft, Hampton went number 12 to the Dallas Cowboys, just 2 picks later. So the value is there. Hampton's going to be a top 15 pick, top 12 pick. Number 10 is not necessarily a reach. So I wouldn't be surprised, Bears talkers, if the Bears are set on a running back, if they think Omarion Hampton and Ashton Genty, the gap is not as wide as maybe some of us have been led to believe up to this point, and I don't think the gap is that wide. You can go look at all my posts on Chicago Bears on SI, and you'll see that I've long been saying that Omarion Hampton is not that far behind Ashton Genty on big boards around the league. So if the Bears are one of those teams that don't think their gap is as wide as some might assume it is, don't be surprised if Hampton is the pick. The Lions shocked, if you want to say, the world when they took Jahmyr Gibbs a couple of picks after Bijan Robinson. Gibbs was considered a first-round guy, top 12 guy. I don't think anybody thought he would go that high in the 2023 NFL draft. And he did. And Ben Johnson was part of the staff that evaluated him. Hampton is a very different kind of player. He's a between the tackles banger with the juice to flip the field if he gets past the second level. Jahmyr Gibbs was viewed as kind of this nuclear offensive weapon the whole time, but Hampton offers the Bears something that DeAndre Swift does not. That physical, hard-earned, yards after contact, always leaning forward, always gaining positive yards. And that matters for a young offense, especially for an offensive play caller like Ben Johnson, who wants to be ahead of the sticks. Omarion Hampton is the guy that can do that. So don't be surprised. Don't hold me to this, but don't be surprised if the first round falls the way Mel Kiper has it. Hampton could be in play. Now, the second round. The second round was fun. Mel Kiper's picks in the second round were really, really fun. It starts at number 39 overall, and Mel Kiper sends the Bears some beef in the middle of their defensive line with Ole Miss defensive tackle Walter Nolan. Now, Nolan is an interesting guy because he is a 3-tech at 6'4", 296, a legit penetrator from the interior of the defense. He had 6.5 sacks in 2024, and he would be like the ultimate heir apparent to Grady Jarrett. And what better way to bring a rookie into the league than under the tutelage of, you guys saw Grady Jarrett's introductory press conference. That dude is a natural-born leader. And you take him and turn him not only into a productive guy on the field in a rotational setting in 2024, but you also have him serving as the ultimate mentor for a high pick, a top 40 pick like Walter Nolan, who has some similar traits to Grady Jarrett in terms of his disruptive ability. He had 14 tackles for loss, 48 tackles total in 2024, and he's viewed as a potential plus starter down the road. If you read NFL.com's scouting report of Walter Nolan, they look at him like a potential plus starter, and there's a chance he could be a first-round pick. When you look at these mock drafts, the players that the Bears end up landing at number 39 or even at number 41, you're talking 8 to 10, 9 to 10 picks outside the first-round range, which means there could be a team picking between 25 and 32 that has a first-round grade on a player like Walter Nolan. So getting him at number 39, great value, high-level premium position at a spot that the Bears saw last year firsthand just how valuable depth is. When they lost Andrew Billings last year in the interior of their defensive line, the season fell apart. The defense fell apart. The rushing defense was atrocious after Andrew Billings went down. They've done a lot this year to reinforce that. The Grady Jarrett signing, adding Dayo Odeyingbo as an edge rusher who can slide inside as well. And if they end up with a guy like Walter Nolan in the second round of the 2025 NFL Draft, now you're looking at a defensive trenches rebuild that's very similar to what Poles did in the offensive line. So I like the theory here of using one of the early second-round picks on an interior defender, and Walter Nolan fits the bill as a guy that the Bears would welcome with open arms. I think this is a solid B-plus selection. I have a higher grade on this pick of Walter Nolan than I do the selection of Tyler Warren in the first round, because I do think Nolan is very good value at a premium position on defense and a guy that you get in round two that could be a late first rounder. To me, that's a huge win. It's not an overdraft. It's not a position like linebacker or safety where you can question the positional value. This is something that the Bears need to address probably somewhere on day two, whether it's here at the top of the second round or even before the draft. The day two ends in the third round. I think they're going to add more beef in the middle, an interior defender, whether it's a true 3-tech like Nolan or maybe a bigger nose tackle that comes along in the third round. I do like this selection by Mel Kiper. Solid B+, good job, Mel. That's why you are the draft god. But what really is exciting is pick number 41, the last pick here in Mel Kiper's mock draft. Man, he gave Caleb Williams and the Bears offense some juice with this selection. Travion Henderson, the running back from Ohio State. Henderson's 5'10", 202 pounds, ran a 4.43 at the NFL Combine, ran for 1,016 yards and 8 touchdowns and 10 touchdowns in 2024. Most impressive, 7.1 yards per carry last year. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous yard per carry average. You look for anything above 5.5 for a college prospect is kind of the benchmark you want to see for a guy that you could say in the NFL might be at 4.2 to 4.5 yards a carry. When you're ripping off 7.1 yards per carry, man, that's a special number. And Travion Henderson's gotten comparisons to players like Aaron Jones, a Jahmyr Gibbs light. And that's the kind of player that in Ben Johnson's offense you could do a lot of things with. And just because Henderson is a 202-pounder doesn't mean he won't be a 3-down back. One of the best parts of Travion Henderson's game is his pass blocking, his pass protection. He can be on the field and be not just to run routes and catch passes, but to actually enhance the Bears' pass protection. And as a runner, and maybe he's not going to be the banger between the tackles, but he runs hard. Travion Henderson runs a lot harder than you would think for a 202-pound guy. He runs harder than DeAndre Swift. So I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that a running back selected here at number 41 overall, it's not like it's a dude that's not going to challenge to start right away. He would instantaneously be the most talented running back on the Chicago Bears roster the second his name is called. DeAndre Swift, I like him. DeAndre Swift is a very solid running back, but Travion Henderson has the upside to be a plus starter in the NFL, a guy who gives you more on a down-to-down basis than DeAndre Swift. So adding a player like Travion Henderson, adding him to this backfield, adding him to Ben Johnson's bag of tricks, that would be something else. And when you look at the totality of this draft, Travion Henderson, adding him with Tyler Warren and adding a defender like Walter Nolan, but really focusing on the offense here, Caleb Williams going into 2025 with Tyler Warren as another weapon at tight end and Travion Henderson in the backfield. If that's not getting your juices flowing, Bears fans, then I don't know what will. The Travion Henderson pick, I give a solid A-. Why? Because Henderson is the perfect value need selection at number 41. There are draft purists who will say you don't take a running back in the first round. Okay, if you're in that school of thought, you're going to love this pick. The second round, in that 40 to 50 range. A lot of great running backs have come out of that range. Henderson could be the next in line. It's a second round guy. He's going to enter the league making average running back money, below average running back money. You don't have to pay him until after he's 4 years in the league. If he's a superstar, then after 3 years in the league, you could start talking about a new contract. But this is exactly how you maximize a running back contract, the running back value. You didn't invest a first round pick on a guy. You didn't pay first round money. Second round, 41st pick, a player who, honestly, on any given college football Saturday, you might have seen Travion Henderson making some more impressive runs than Ashton Genty or Marion Hampton. He was in that class of player, in that class of prospect. He split carries with Quinshon Judkins at Ohio State. He wasn't the every down bell cow. He didn't have a chance to put up the monster numbers that we saw Genty and even Hampton be able to produce. But at 7.1 yards per carry, I think we could say with some confidence that if Travion Henderson had more carries for Ohio State, even if that number dropped to 6.5 yards a carry, we're talking about a 1,500-plus yard running back and a whole lot of more touchdowns from Henderson if he was the every down guy. You might say to yourself, well, he wasn't the every down guy because he doesn't have the traits to be the every down guy. I'm not quite sure I agree with that. And I don't know if that's even relevant anymore in the NFL because there are very few NFL teams that deploy bell cow, every down, 3-down guys. It's a lot of running back by committee now, and Travion Henderson has the traits to lead a committee backfield in Chicago. So Mel Kiper Jr., the GOAT, the God, the mock draft guru, the original, the guy that all NFL draft analysts owe their careers to right now, he sends the Bears in this 2-round mock. First round, Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn State. Second round, Walter Nolan, defensive lineman, Ole Miss, and Travion Henderson, running back, Ohio State. It's a B, it's a B+, and it's an A-. Whatever that GPA weighs out to, if there's any teachers out there watching this, drop it in the comments. Give me what you think the weighted GPA might be. I think we end up with a solid B/B+/ maybe a little higher overall grade for this mock draft. Mel Kiper, great job. Now if Ryan Poles can listen and apply the same kind of draft strategy and land the Bears 3 plug-and-play starters, Nolan wouldn't have to be, but he can be. 3 plug-and-play starters with the first 3 picks. This is where the NFL draft, you can see how valuable it is for an NFL team. 3 high-level instant impact players added with the first 3 picks for the Chicago Bears. This is a very realistic outcome. It might not be Warren, Nolan, and Henderson, but it'll be 3 players like this, 3 top 50 prospects in the 2025 NFL Draft coming to Chicago and making an immediate impact next fall. Bears fans, go to the comments. What is your grade for Mel Kiper's mock draft? What do you think he did well, or maybe where he missed the mark in these first 3 picks? I want to read your comments. You'll see in our last video where I did a mock draft, I was responding to your comments. I liked some of your thoughts. Some of you guys loved the picks I made. Some of you guys hated them. Go check out that last video and let me know what you think about the picks I made. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast provider, please rate, review, and also leave some comments. Follow me on Twitter at Bryan Perez NFL. Follow the Bears Talk main account at the Bears Talk. Make sure you're checking out all of our Chicago Bears content on Bears on SI. That's right. We have a great team putting all of the Chicago Bears content together for Sports Illustrated, whether it's Alan or Gene or Pete or Lauren. These guys are working day and night to give you the best Chicago Bears content. So head over to Bears on SI, bookmark the webpage, especially for draft weekend. We're going to crush it. We're going to have more draft content than you can even imagine over those 3 days and beyond for the NFL Draft. So you're going to want to be locked in there. Bears fans, I appreciate you coming in. Make sure you subscribe. Again, subscribe to this channel. Help get this Bears Talk podcast to the top of all Chicago Bears podcasts out there. We can only do it with you guys hitting that subscribe button and telling all the Bears fans about us. Again, Bears fans, thank you for checking in. We're going to have another video this week with the great Luke Easterling from Athlon Sports, who's going to give us a bigger, deeper dive on the NFL Draft and the 2025 class of potential Bears that could come in. And until then, Bears fans, bear down.
Thanks for listening to the Bears Talk Podcast with Bryan Perez, your ultimate source for all things Bears. Be sure to rate and review us and let us know what you think of the podcast.